Panera used to be the safe choice. Warm bread, hot soup, and a clean cafe. You knew what you were getting. I felt that too. But something big has changed and people are voting with their feet. Many customers and many workers are walking away. Even if you love the smell of fresh dough, you might be shocked today. I dug into news reports, official filings, and worker accounts to see what shifted. Food Business News, in reporting by Russell Redmond, said Panera confirmed it plans to close its remaining fresh dough facilities. Restaurant Business reported sales fell more than 5% in 2024. Those two facts tell us the promise is changing and loyalty is slipping. Here is the plan for this briefing: value, bread, menu, drinks, staff, management, tipping, and what you see in the dining room. Speed to value. Panera's famous fresh-baked bread is almost gone under a new model. The first shocker is the bread. But first, we need to talk about price and portions, because that is where habit breaks. Do you still visit Panera? Summary: the brand's core is shifting, sales are down, and insiders confirm major changes. Next, reason number 1. Value for your dollar. Number 1. You used to leave full after a Panera lunch. Today, many people leave with a receipt that stings. Here is the blunt truth: value has slipped. In March of 2024, Business Insider reported Panera's biggest overhaul with bigger portions and some lower prices. That is the promise, but in practice, many guests report paying $18 to $20 for a half sandwich and a small soup that once ran near $10 to $12. I have seen the receipts people post and the comments mirror it. When value goes down, loyalty goes down. Families do the math. A work lunch becomes a grocery run. The perception is simple: higher price, smaller plate. That hurts, especially when people remember larger bowls and thicker sandwiches a few years back. Speed to value. The chain promised bigger portions and some lower prices, but real meals often cost more for less. That gap breeds frustration and exit. Summary: the math does not pencil out for many guests. The check is up, the food feels smaller, and loyalty drops with it. Transition. If value is step 1, the bread itself is step 2, and it cuts to the heart of the brand. Number 2. Panera's identity was daily bread. Bakers worked the night shift so you smelled fresh loaves at dawn. That system is ending. Restaurant Business reported in 2025 that Panera plans to close its remaining fresh dough facilities over the next 2 years. Food Business News detailed closures and plans affecting sites such as Lenexa, Kansas, and Greensboro, North Carolina. The chain is moving to par-baked bread made by outside partners, shipped frozen, then finished in the cafe. Corporate says the new model ensures bread will be available all day and boosts consistency. But there is a trade-off. Warren Notices showed real people losing work, including 66 roles in Romulus, Michigan, and 114 in Orlando, Florida. And longtime fans say the aroma and texture feel different when the dough is not made in the network of fresh dough facilities. Speed to value. Panera will close all 9 remaining fresh bread bakeries and rely on frozen, par-baked loaves finished in stores. That is a structural shift. Summary: the fresh-baked backbone is being replaced by a finish-in-store model. Quality concerns and layoffs follow. Transition. And the changes do not stop at bread. Favorites on the menu have vanished too. Number 3. Variety kept many of us coming back. Then, favorite items began to disappear. Business Insider reported that in 2023, Panera tested a trimmed menu in select stores, cutting about 50 items to simplify operations. By April of 2024, the bigger shakeup arrived. Franchise and industry coverage noted dozens of long-standing items marked retired in the app. Fans opened the menu and found flatbread pizzas gone. A popular chicken orzo soup vanished. Specialty sandwiches and desserts many loved were no longer available. The official line is streamlining and speed. The customer view is losing the reason they went in the first place. This matters for traffic. People build habits around that one soup or that Friday flatbread. Pull it, and they pull back. Speed to value. Nearly 50 items were cut in tests, and then many favorites were quietly retired during the 2024 revamp. That feels like a different restaurant. Summary: the menu narrowed, favorites disappeared, and habit broke. Transition: the turbulence did not end with food. A high caffeine drink rollout added a fresh wave of concern. Number 4. The brand reached for an energy buzz and it backfired. In late 2024, Panera introduced highly caffeinated charged citrus drinks. Soon after, reports surfaced of health scares and legal filings tied to the beverages. Details are still argued, and the company has not given a full public accounting. But the outcome is clear enough. The drinks were quietly pulled and disappeared from marketing and the app by early 2025. A drink meant to excite the menu instead raised safety questions and trust issues. For a chain built on a clean image, that conflict is hard to square. If you value clear, fact-forward breakdowns that cut through the noise, consider subscribing to PrepWise. I keep these briefings calm, sourced, and practical so you can make your own call. Speed to value. A high caffeine launch turned into a PR problem and a retreat. That dense confidence. Summary. The drink line promised energy and delivered controversy, then vanished. Transition. Customers are not the only ones uneasy. Workers inside the cafes and bakeries are feeling the strain too. Number 5. The human side tells you a lot. With the bakery network winding down, WARN filings show real cuts. 66 jobs lost in Romulus, Michigan, and 114 in Orlando, Florida, with more as facilities close. Inside cafes, many workers describe short staffing, lower hours, and more tasks per person. Reviews and posts point to low pay for the workload and limited paths to advance. It is not just stores. Nation's Restaurant News covered corporate belt-tightening, noting another round of layoffs less than a year after a prior reduction of about 17%. Internal notes talked about aligning support with strategy. On the ground, staff say it feels like doing more with less. When employees are stretched, service slips and morale erodes. That shows up in prep speed, accuracy, and the feel of the dining room. Speed to value. Bakery closures cost jobs, cafes run lean, and corporate teams were cut again. That pressure leaks into guest experience. Summary. Staff bear the load of the new model, from bakers to managers. Morale down means service down. Transition, which leads to the next question of leadership and ownership making these calls. Number 6. These changes are not random. Panera has been owned by JAB Holding, a private investment firm, since 2017, and leadership had explored an IPO as recently as 2023. Nation's Restaurant News reported internal messages that the company needed to remove silos, align our support structure with strategy, and empower general managers. In plain terms, that often means cuts and tighter control. Executives describe this as streamlining. Critics call it profit-first cost-cutting. Prices up, labor down, and core brand pieces diluted. Both things can be true in parts, but the customer sees one result at the register and on the plate. Speed to value. Internal memos emphasize efficiency and alignment. The visible outcome is layoffs, trimmed menus, and a different bread model. Summary. Ownership and leadership choices set the tone for price, product, and staffing. That strategy shows up at checkout too. Transition. Even the way you pay now carries new friction for many guests. Number 7. Gratuity used to mean table service. Now many guests report a tip prompt for counter pickup and digital orders. The company frames it as optional support for hardworking teams. Customers see higher prices, smaller portions, and then a request to add 10 to 15% for handing over a bag. Some cafes even added tip jars at the register. This is about perception. When value already feels thin, another ask at checkout turns into a pain point. People do not like feeling nudged to pay more when service did not change. Speed to value. Optional or not, the tipping prompt on to-go orders reads as another squeeze to many guests. That pushes some to cook at home. Summary. The tip prompt adds friction at the last step. Small moments like this stack up. Transition. Stack enough of them and you can see it in the dining room and the numbers. Number 8. You can feel it in some stores at lunch. Fewer people, shorter lines, quieter rooms. That anecdotal picture lines up with reported performance. Restaurant Business reported that same-store sales fell more than 5% in 2024. Analysts warn that losing value, trimming menus, and shifting core products are not quick to fix. On the ground, regulars say they go less often or they switch to other options. One by one, those choices add up to slower days behind the counter. Speed to value. The sales slip and the emptier rooms reflect everything we just covered. Price, bread, menu, drinks, staffing, and checkout friction, all connected. Summary. Loyalty has eroded and traffic shows it. This is the practical outcome of a long list of decisions. Transition. So what does it mean for you and your next meal choice? Let's close this out with a clear bottom line. We pulled the story apart and laid it in order. Panera raised prices while portions often felt smaller. It moved from fresh dough bakeries to frozen, par-baked bread finished in stores. It cut beloved menu items. A high caffeine drink launch sparked controversy and then disappeared. Workers faced layoffs and lean staffing. Leadership framed cuts as alignment and efficiency. Checkout added a tip prompt that felt like another squeeze. The result? Emptier cafes and loyalty in retreat. The simple reality is this: decisions made to boost consistency and profit have undercut the founding promise of fresh, generous, and welcoming. Some changes may help operations, but the guest experience has paid the price. If you found this useful, subscribe to PrepWise for clear, calm coverage you can trust. Thanks for watching. Which Panera change hits you hardest, and does it change whether you go back? Summary. We followed the evidence and saw how each lever, value, bread, menu, drinks, staff, management, and checkout, pulled the brand off course. Final word: choose the places that honor your dollar and your trust. That choice is your best leverage.